Hello everybody, today we're going to be doing a disc golf course review of a course in La Crosse, Wisconsin. This is Pettibone Disc Golf Course, located right along the Mississippi River. This is a 27-hole layout with a good mixture of wooded holes and open holes. The course overall is very flat and good for all skill levels. It's good for beginners as well as testing the skills of some of the advanced players. We'd like to thank some of the course sponsors: Seven Rivers Disc Golf Club, City of La Crosse, Wisconsin Disc Sports Association. Let's hop into hole 1. Hole 1 is par 3, 310 feet. There are two gaps you can take on this one. The more preferred line is the left side of these trees. You can go on the right side of this tree about to come into the frame right now. If you want to take a right-hand backhand at it. But the preferred play is a forehand that gets a skip right about here and hopefully just misses a couple trees and lands you in the circle for a good putt on the first hole. Hole 2 is a 288-foot par 3. Again, there are two gaps in this one. One you can't really see is off to the left. You can throw a forehand around the back side of this gap and get yourself a look that way. Otherwise, the play is right where this drone is flying. You want to throw a straighter disc on a pretty steep hyzer and get it to pop up so it glides down the fairway a little bit more. If you throw a more overstable disc, you might fade out a little bit early and have a longer putt at it. This is a pretty tough hole. Hole 3 is 264 feet, par 3. This one's a little bit more straightforward. I like to take a forehand at it and just miss this big tree right in the middle and then fade out to the right. A backhand turnover shot actually works really well in this hole as well. It's just up to you if you'd like to throw the backhand a little bit more or the forehand. They both work on this hole. Hole 4, 206 feet, par 3. Another very straightforward hole. It's a pretty short, one of the shortest holes on the course. Most people just throw a backhand straight at it with a putter and hopefully slide it up there. There is out of bounds on that whole right side. You can see where the brush line is. Anything right or beyond of that is actually OB. Hole 5, 339 feet, another par 3. Again, the road plays OB on the left side. You want to keep something pretty low through this gap. It is pretty low ceiling. I like to take a forehand and try to skip it over to the right a little bit. Usually want to land somewhere right around here and try to skip over there. If you try to play it there in the air, you're likely going to hit the ceiling high. So that's why I like to do the skip shot. Hole 6 is a tricky little hole. It's 342 feet, par 4. It's par 4 because you have to throw into the woods first. There's a mando at this big tree. You can see on our left side of the screen right now. You have to go to the right of it. And again, from hole 4, you can see that right side of the fairway is lined with the brush. That is all OB if you go past that to the right. So you got to really navigate through this woods and hopefully get yourself an open second shot, or maybe even a long putt at this for a 2. Hole 7, 300-foot par 3. This is a pretty straight shot. I like to throw a straight backhand fairway driver at it. There is an OB island just left of the green. You'll see this clump of trees and a little bit of grass in there. It is outlined with stakes and a rope, and if you're inside of that, you're OB. Play it from wherever it went OB on that one. Hole 8, par 3, 223 feet. Another pretty straightforward one. You just kind of pick your gap. I prefer this straight gap at it. Throw another straight putter at it and hopefully keep it straight and not glide too far because that road behind is OB and can creep up really fast. Hole 9, 501 feet, another par 4. This is the longest hole in the course. The road on the left side plays OB. Anything left of it is OB. This tree on our right now, you actually have to stay left of it. It's a Mando left. And then there is a second Mando tree at the end of the tree line up here on the right side, where that stake is, right at the edge of the woods there. You have to stay left of that also, so it just kind of prevents you from going into the other fairways over there. But this is a good 2-shot par 4. Yeah, it's a long hole, but if you keep it in the middle and keep out of the OB road and out of the Mandos, it's fairly easy to get your 3 on. Hole 10, 303 feet, par 3. This is one of the trickier gaps to hit. This tree right in the middle seems to be hit a lot. You want a shot that turns a little bit to the right, but then you have to keep it back to the left at the end. So a little flex shot will work. Otherwise, a straight shot that is filtering to the right but fades back left will also really work. Hole 11, 273 feet, par 3. The preferred play on this one is go left side, throw forehand, something overstable. If you get past all these trees, it's a pretty routine forehand shot. You just got to get past these trees right on the right and not hanging out too far to the left. The roads do play OB on this one as well. Most of the time people don't find them though. Hole 12. This is a 297 foot par 3. This is another forehand shot. The basket actually got moved a little bit more to the right than its usual position. There was a tree hanging over it that was going to land on it, so they removed the tree but kept the basket in the more right position. So it really plays for that forehand shot. Get a little skip and get it to carry to the right a little bit more. That's really the play on this one. Hole 13, 321 feet, par 3. There are 2 plays in this one. If you really like the forehand, you can take the left side around this big clump of trees in the middle. Otherwise, the play is a pretty big hyzer shot. It's only 321 feet, but it plays a lot longer than that because you have to go so high and so wide to get around these trees and still carry back left to get back to the basket to have a putt. It's easy to go too straight, too far, and end up in those weeds and have a tough putt. Hole 14, 330 feet, another par 3. This one is just mainly keeping the disc straight and have a little bit of fade at the end. This gap right here is actually one of the trickier gaps on the course. Those trees seem to be hit fairly often. And again, you want to keep out of the rough on the right and the left. You want to keep it nice and straight. If you get a little skip back to the left, right about here, that'll be perfect. Land you in this little bowl. It's a perfect area for putting, but you end up in those trees quite often. Hole 15, 246 feet, par 3. Just looks like a bunch of trees, but if you take this right side hyzer, I like to throw a mid-range on a hyzer and pop it up a little bit, something a little bit straighter. Then it will carry forward a little bit more. If I throw something more overstable, I tend to end up more left or too early. So yeah, I like a straighter backhand shot on that one. Hole 16, 273 feet, par 3. This is another one where you have 2 options. You can take this right side gap or the left side of the V tree right in the middle. If you want to throw a straight backhand, you can take this right gap. Otherwise, a forehand up the left gap is also a very common play. Then you just got to miss these 2 trees up by the green. You'll have a good look for a putt. Hole 17 is 279 feet, par 3. This is a pretty much only forehand hole. I've seen a few people throw backhands, but the trees on the left are really grown up, so you have to hug it really tight to the left side enough to get around this group of trees on the right. So the forehand just really plays better to it. It allows you to keep it lower to get under the ceiling as well. Often people get like a little skip under those trees and gets them right up by the basket. Hole 18, 240 feet, par 3. This is a pretty short hole, but it can be pretty tricky to hit the gap as it's 2/3 of the way down the fairway. So you want to take this left side. I like a forehand mid-range and just get it flat and have it fade back for me. You can throw a putter turnover shot at it too. If you finish just straight, that will also just get you a 30-foot putt, and that's just perfectly fine. Whatever you can hit that gap with. Hole 19 is a par 3, 295 feet. This is starting the wide open back nine. For this one, a lot of players will just throw a big hyzer at it. It's only 295 feet, so you can kind of throw fairway or a distance driver depending on your arm speed, but just play it out really far right, or you can go straight at it, whatever your go-to shot is. Hole 20, 307 feet, par 3. The tricky part of this hole is you have to go left of this tree right in the middle there with the red sign says Mando. You gotta go Mando left of that. So it's basically forcing you to do a flex forehand to get left through the gap and then finish back right, because the hole itself is net neutral straight. But with the ways the trees line up, it kind of forces the flex shot there. Hole 21, 408 feet. This is the longest par 3 on the course. This is kind of where most of the players get to open up and throw kind of a distance line. Although it is only 408 feet, it still plays pretty far. I like taking this right side line, distance driver straight at it, and then a little bit of fade at the end. You can go on the left side and play a forehand. A lot of people end up stuck back in the trees and have a 70-foot approach shot up to the basket. Usually not too difficult of a 3, but a pretty good 2. Hole 22, 372 feet, par 3. This is one of the hardest holes on the course, I think. Hitting this initial gap, it is 372 feet and pretty low ceiling, so you have to throw something pretty hard and pretty fast. So hitting this gap can be tricky at times, and you got to carry it really straight the whole way, and the basket's tucked behind this big tree. If people do get a really good drive, they usually end up behind that tree somehow and have a 30-foot putt at it. Hole 23 is a 300-foot par 3. This one, again, you have 2 options off the tee. You can take the left side, that's the preferred route. It's a little bit wider of a gap. I like to do that with the forehand, get a little skip up to the basket. You can go left or right side with a right hand backhand. There's a few more trees to miss, so that's why I like going to the left route personally. Hole 24, 295 feet, par 3. This is a pretty straightforward hole. This gap is pretty big. You can go big forehand hyzer around the left side of it, but most people just play a straight shot up the middle. It's kind of whatever disc you can throw 300 feet straight. That's what you want to go with. People tend to fade out a little bit early if they go right hand backhand and get behind that tree. It leaves a little bit of a tricky putt on this hole. Hole 25, 240 feet, par 3. I personally like to go left of these 2 trees right here with the forehand. It's a little bit wider of a gap, less finesse required there. You can get a flex forehand up the middle, otherwise a understable flip up, hyzer flip backhand can also work going the straight route. Hole 26, 180 feet, par 3. This is definitely the shortest hole in the course. It's very easy for the right hand backhand player. On the right side, there's just so much open air. Basically whatever you can throw. I like to go putter overstable putter, just get it high on the right side, throw a little hyzer, spike it in, make your putt and move on. And the last hole, hole 27, 306 feet, par 3. This is the only one where there's really a risk of losing your disc. People tend to go in the left side, or some people do the right side also, but the water. It's pretty straightforward though. If you keep it straight, whatever you can throw just over 300 feet. I like to throw something straight with a little bit of fade at the end, landing up close to the basket. Thank you for watching our video. If you would like to see more content like this, please like and subscribe, and leave us a comment what course you'd like to see us review next.